Hi there. Today we're talking about a non-compulsion, no fear in government policy, and the Invitational. Jordan Peterson, who's heavily involved with the ARC Forum conference, talks about the Invitational being an important way for government policy to work, rather than government policies being based on compulsion and or fear. Now, obviously we can feel compelled, we can feel fearful for any number of reasons, but essentially what he means here is that governments can't nakedly use compulsion or fear with government policies for soft policies in order to get their own way. Obviously you have to compel when it comes to certain laws in relation to crime and things where you can't have people doing their own thing at their own will or whim, but in relation to new policies to encourage people to live a different way, presumably a better way, more economical, less wasteful, more community-minded, you must do that with non-compulsion and without using fear. What he calls the invitational. Now, some of you may be aware that Richard Thaler and Rory Sutherland came up with their concept of nudging, behavioral economics, which got Richard Thaler the Nobel Prize. He advised government. They created the Business Insights team in Britain. And it's all about nudging people towards complying with government policy, getting their tax returns in on time, so on and so forth. But doing it in a nudging way, an invitational way, rather than anything else, rather than any kind of threat or compulsion or fear, just nudging them in a nice way. But that's another way of being invitational, I think it's fair to say. So there's a direct correlation between Richard Thaler, the Nobel Prize winner in economics, and Rory Sutherland's concept of nudging, and the Business Insights team that worked for the British government under David Cameron, and Jordan Peterson's ARC Forum concept of the invitational. So I would characterize them as the same things, although Dr. Peterson appears to be expanding on his concept of the invitational. And really, so you carrot and stick. So we're talking about a carrot, I suppose, without the stick being the invitational. And really, this goes to an important point of government policy moving forward, because you do need citizens paying their taxes. But by the same token, citizens want to interact in government in a non-friction fashion. So that means, essentially, without using too much jargon, you need user-friendly, citizen-friendly, customer-friendly government policies, and you really need to treat citizens like customers and think of it as them as clients and them receiving services, and deliver them in a friendly, helpful manner without compulsion, without fear, so that they engage, and in a user-friendly way, so you make it easy for them as well. And that means having things like hubs where people can get a number of different services all in one, so you save them time. On internet portals, you make it easy to understand and register, helpful prompts, and artificial intelligence can help with that. But that's really where you need to get to, and governments have to be prepared to be as helpful as possible, as friendly as possible, as user-friendly as possible, and have turnkey solutions and use hubs so that people can save time and get things done, give them workarounds, make it straightforward, and treat them like customers, highly valued customers in the private sector. Of course, and we're not talking about the private sector, we're talking about the government sector, but unfortunately, government does have to move towards a private sector customer-friendly model, an invitational model if they want things to work. They have to provide hubs, they have to provide simplicity, time-saving methods, workarounds, so that citizens are treated like customers, valued customers. That's really the only way forward. You can talk about policy all you like, but for the average citizen who may want to buy a house, build a house, register a car, but the list goes on, you have to make it straightforward for them, and you have to make it reasonably straightforward for people in business and industry if you want private sector jobs. And that's certainly a big issue, the red tape in countries like Britain, America, Australia, Canada, New Zealand. Before you get to the rest of the world, there's too much red tape, and that means less jobs. So red tape means less jobs, and regulation doesn't necessarily improve outcomes either in terms of regulating for the outcomes you want. You can have the red tape, but without the enforcement or without review, royal commissions, for example, in Commonwealth countries for review, are you going to get great outcomes and great compliance from regulations? I would say no. Jordan Peterson would say no, you've got to be more invitational, non-friction, less tricks, less compulsion, and a different mindset in government wrapped around the invitational, maybe like not just a carrot approach, but a carrot on a silver tray approach. That may offend some people in terms of what they think government should be, in terms of doling things out. But at the end of the day, government is paid for by the citizens, by the taxpayers, and they're not paid for their attitude. So they're not paid to look down on people, be surly. Their job is to facilitate, and that's probably what has to be remembered if you want people to pay their tax and comply with laws and cut down friction and cost on both sides of the equation. And that basically is the invitational. And Jordan Peterson is right, we should move towards it. Thanks.